To mistake the Krolix Empire ruled over 40 star systems. For 300 years, they had been the strongest force in the Eastern Spiral. Their warships were large and powerful. Their warriors were trained from birth. No one challenged them. They had never met humans before. The attack on New Terra came without warning. 20 Krolix battleships dropped out of hyperspace above the peaceful colony world. The planet had 50,000 human settlers. They grew crops, built homes, and raised families under the light of a yellow sun, much like Earth. Commander Vrock stood on the bridge of his flagship. His scales gleamed under the control panel lights. "Begin the bombardment," he ordered. His voice was calm, almost bored. The first missiles struck the main settlement at dawn. Buildings exploded into fire and dust. The Krolix had studied humans for 2 months. They seemed soft, weak. They had no major defenses on this world. The Empire wanted the planet for its rich mineral deposits. The humans were simply in the way. Tom Blake was working in the northern mining station when the attack began. He was an engineer, 42 years old, with rough hands and gray in his beard. The ground shook beneath his feet. Through the window, he saw the sky light up with explosions. The comm system screamed with emergency signals. "All personnel evacuate. We are under attack. This is not a drill." Tom ran to the emergency shuttle bay. Around him, colonists were screaming, crying, trying to help their children. He saw his neighbor, Old Man Rick, fall as the building shook again. Tom stopped, pulled him up, and dragged him toward the shuttles. Behind them, the mining station exploded. Only 3 shuttles made it off New Terra. Tom's shuttle was one of them. As they broke atmosphere, he looked back at his home. The planet's surface was covered in fire. Smoke rose into the sky in massive black columns. Everything he had built over 15 years was gone. The Krolix let the shuttles go. They were not worth the ammunition. This was the Empire's first mistake. Tom's shuttle jumped to hyperspace and headed for the nearest human outpost. It took 4 days. During those days, Tom sat in silence. He stared at the metal wall. Other survivors cried. Some prayed. Tom just sat there, his jaw tight. His hands clenched into fists dot when they reached Outpost 7. Military personnel rushed aboard. A young officer named Kate approached Tom. "Sir, we need your statement. What happened at New Terra?" Tom looked up at her. His eyes were red, but dry. "They killed everyone. 50,000 people. Men, women, children. They didn't even ask us to leave. They just started shooting." Kate's hand trembled as she wrote notes. "Did they give any reason? Any warning?" "No," Tom said. "We were just in their way." The news spread through human space like fire. New Terra was gone. The Krolix Empire had committed unprovoked genocide. Earth's Central Command received the reports within hours. Admiral James Ross sat in his office, reading the casualty lists. His face was stone. "Sir?" His aide stood in the doorway. "The council is meeting. They want your recommendation." Ross stood up. He was 60 years old, a veteran of 3 colonial conflicts. He had spent his life trying to keep peace in human territories. But there were lines that could not be crossed. "Tell the council I recommend full mobilization," he said quietly. "Every ship, every soldier, every resource we have." "Sir, that's a war footing." "Are you sure?" "They killed 50,000 civilians," Ross interrupted. His voice was soft but cold as ice. "They burned our colony to ash. They think we're weak. They think we'll accept this." He walked to the window and looked out at Earth hanging in the black of space. They're about to learn differently. Across human space, military bases went on high alert. Shipyards that had been building cargo vessels started building warships. Soldiers who had been on leave were called back to duty. Humanity had been at peace for 20 years. That peace was over. The Krollex Empire had made their mistake. Now they would pay for it. Asterisk the awakening 3 weeks after New Terra burned. The Krollex received their first warning sign. It came from the border system of Theta 9. A Krollex patrol group of 5 ships was conducting routine surveillance. Captain Drax commanded the lead vessel. They had been monitoring human activity in nearby systems. The reports all said the same thing. Humans were gathering ships, but slowly. Their response seemed confused, disorganized. Drax was reviewing scanner data when his sensor officer hissed in alarm. "Captain, multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace." "How many?" Drax demanded. 30. Still counting, sir. 52 human warships. Drax felt his blood run cold. 52 ships? The intelligence reports said humans only had 20 warships in this entire sector. Where had these come from? Battle stations. Send distress signal to command. But the human fleet didn't attack immediately. They formed a perfect battle formation, surrounding the Krollex patrol. Then a transmission came through. A human face appeared on the screen, a woman with short dark hair and cold eyes. Captain Lisa Ward of the U.E.'s Vengeance. "Krollex vessels," she said. Her voice was calm. "You have entered human-protected space. You have 10 minutes to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Drax laughed. "You think 5 ships will surrender to you? We are Krollex warriors. We do not—" "9 minutes," Ward interrupted. Drax cut the transmission. "All ships, prepare to fight our way out. Target their flagship." The battle lasted 4 minutes. The Krollex opened fire first. Their plasma cannons were powerful, their targeting systems excellent. But the human ships moved like nothing Drax had ever seen. They dodged, weaved, and coordinated their movements with impossible precision. Their return fire was surgical, precise. They targeted engines, weapon systems, communication arrays. One by one, the Krollex ships were disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. Drax's ship was the last. A human missile took out his main reactor. Emergency lights flickered on. His crew stared at their dead consoles in disbelief. "This is impossible," Drax whispered. "We are the strongest military in the sector ... Human Marines boarded his ship 20 minutes later. They moved through the corridors with smooth efficiency, their weapons ready but controlled. They took the Krollex crew prisoner without killing a single warrior dot as Drax was led away in restraints. He saw Captain Ward standing in his bridge. She was examining his ship's computer system. "Take everything," she ordered her tech specialist. "Battle tactics, fleet positions, command codes." "All of it, yes, ma'am." Ward turned to look at Drax. "Your empire thought we were weak. You thought one attack would make us run. You were wrong. You cannot defeat the Krollex Empire," Drax said. "We have hundreds of ships. Thousands of warriors." Ward smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "So do we. You just didn't know it." News of the battle spread quickly. In the Krollex Command Center, High Commander Zarn reviewed the reports with growing concern. 52 human warships had appeared from nowhere. 5 Krollex ships captured without a single human casualty. Where did these ships come from? Zarn demanded. His intelligence officer brought up a holographic display. "Sir, we have reports from multiple sources. Human shipyards that we thought were building civilian vessels. They were military ships all along. Earth has been building a fleet for years, hiding it in plain sight. How many ships do they have? We estimate at least 300 warships, possibly more." The room went silent. 300 warships. The Krollex had 240 across their entire empire. "This changes everything," Zarn said slowly. "Send orders to all border fleets. Defensive positions. No aggressive actions against human forces until we understand what we're dealing with." But the order came too late. In 6 different systems, human fleets were already moving. They didn't attack Krolek's colonies or civilian targets. They struck military bases, supply depots, and communication stations. Each attack was fast, efficient, and devastating. The humans would jump into a system, destroy their target, and jump out before reinforcements arrived. Admiral Ross watched the battle reports from Earth Command. The holographic display showed human forces pushing into Krolek's territory like a knife through butter. Every engagement was a human victory. His aide approached. "Sir, the other alien races are sending diplomatic requests. The Vexen, the Turians, the Drellax Collective... They all want to know what's happening." "Tell them the truth," Ross said. "Tell them that humanity is done being peaceful. Tell them what happens when you cross us." On the bridge of the U.E.'s Retribution, Tom Blake stood in a military uniform. After New Terra, he had joined the Navy. They had made him a tactical advisor. He knew mining systems, industrial targets. He knew how to hurt an empire's ability to make war. He looked at the star map showing Krolek's territory. Red marks indicated human strikes. There were dozens of them now, spreading deeper into enemy space. "For New Terra," he said quietly. Behind him, the crew of the Retribution echoed his words. For New Terra. The galaxy was waking up to a new reality. Humanity wasn't a minor colony species anymore. They were a military power, and they were angry. The Krolek's empire had crossed a line. Now they would face the consequences. Asterisk. The reckoning 6 months after the fall of New Terra, the human fleet assembled at the edge of Krolek space. 200 warships hung in the darkness between stars. It was the largest military force humanity had ever gathered in one place. Admiral Ross stood on the bridge of the UEC Defiance, the fleet's command ship. Around him, holographic displays showed every vessel information. Captains from 100 different ships waited for his orders. "All ships report ready, sir," his communications officer said. Ross looked at the star map. Beyond this empty space lay the Krolek's homeworld, Craxus Prime, the heart of their empire. In the past 6 months, human forces had captured or destroyed 70% of the Krolek's military fleet. They had liberated 2 species that the Kroleks had enslaved. They had shut down mining operations, weapons factories, and supply lines. But the war wasn't over. "Not yet. Open channel to all ships." Ross ordered that the comm system activated. 200 ships waited to hear his words. 6 months ago, the Krolek's empire murdered 50,000 innocent people. They thought we would be easy victims. They thought we would accept their cruelty and move on. Ross paused. They were wrong. Today, we finish what they started. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity protects its own. All ships jump on my mark. He looked at his navigator. Take us in. Space twisted and folded. 200 human warships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation above. Craxus Prime, the Krolek's homeworld, was a fortress. Orbital defense platforms surrounded the planet like a steel ring. 90 warships, everything the Empire had left, waited in defensive positions. On the planet's surface, billions of Krolek civilians looked up at the sky in fear. High Commander Zarn stood in the Planetary Defense Center. When he saw the human fleet on his screens, his heart sank. 200 ships. They had brought everything. "Sir, incoming transmission from the human fleet." Admiral Ross's face appeared on the main screen. Zarn had studied this human for months. He knew Ross had a daughter. He knew Ross had served in the military for 40 years. He knew Ross had argued against this war until New Terra burned. High Commander Zarn, Ross said, I am offering you one chance to surrender. Power down your weapons. Recall your ships. Face justice for what you did to New Terra. Zarn's claws dug into his command console. Surrender? The Kralix Empire had never surrendered in 300 years of conquest. And if we refuse? Zarn asked. Then we will disable every military asset you have. Your orbital platforms. Your warships. Your planetary defense grid. We will leave your empire defenseless and broken. Ross leaned forward. But we will not target civilians. We are not like you. Zarn looked at his tactical officer. Can we win? The officer's scales had gone pale. No, sir. Our analysis shows a 98% probability of total defeat. Their ships are faster, their weapons more accurate, their tactics superior. We never had a chance. Then we never should have attacked them, Zarn said bitterly. He took a deep breath. Around him, his command staff waited. Outside, 90 Kralix warships prepared to defend their homeworld. They would fight bravely. They would die honorably. But they would lose. Zarn thought about the billions of civilians on the planet below. His people. If he ordered his fleet to fight, the humans would destroy them. The Kralix Empire would have no defense left. Other hostile powers would invade. His species might not survive. Pride had started this war. Pride could not be allowed to end his civilization. Open a channel to all Kralix forces, Zarn ordered quietly. All ships. Stand down. Power down weapon systems. His tactical officer stared at him. Sir, do it? Zarn's voice cracked like a whip. The war is over. We lost. Across the Kralix fleet, weapons powered down. Ships went into standby mode. The orbital platforms deactivated their cannons. For the first time in 300 years, the Kralix homeworld was defenseless. Admiral Ross watched the Kralix ships go dark on his display. He felt no joy in this victory. 50,000 people were still dead. New Terra was still ashes, but it was finished. All ships maintain positions. Prepare boarding parties. He opened a channel to the Kralix Command Center. High Commander Zarn, you and your senior staff will be transported to this vessel. You will be tried for war crimes by a galactic tribunal. Your empire will pay reparations to the families of New Terra. Your military will be reduced to defense forces only. Do you understand these terms? I understand, Zarn said. The proud commander sounded tired, defeated. We accept your terms. 2 weeks later, representatives from 15 alien species gathered on the neutral station of Omega Point. They watched as High Commander Zarn stood before a tribunal. He was found guilty of genocide. The Kralix Empire was ordered to pay reparations for 50 years, but the trial was not the important part. The important part was the message humanity sent to the galaxy. Tom Blake, the survivor of New Terra, stood before the assembled aliens and spoke. Humanity wants peace, he said. His voice was steady and clear. We want to trade, to explore, to build friendships with other species. But we will not be victims. We will not let our people be murdered without response. Anyone who crosses humanity, anyone who brings war to our worlds, will face what the Kralix faced. The alien delegates listened in silence. They had all watched the war. They had seen how efficiently humans fought, how completely they had defeated a major military power. The Vexen ambassador stood. Humanity has proven itself. We welcome you as equals in the Galactic Council. One by one, other species agreed. Humanity was no longer a minor colony race. They were a power to be respected, a force to be feared if provoked. Admiral Ross stood on Earth, looking up at the stars. The war had cost 3,000 human lives. It had cost billions in resources. But it had bought something important: safety, security. respect. No one would attack human colonies again. Not for a very long time. The galaxy had learned its lesson. They had crossed humanity once. They would not make that mistake again. The end. Asterisk.